Hi, my name is Jessica Corson, and today we're going to talk a little bit about Saturn, the planet, and what he does in your chart. Saturn as an energy is the feeling of restriction, auditing, the obstacles that you go through in life that create growth. So, doing 10 push ups a day and, getting stronger, that's Saturn. It's these obstacles that you go through in life that help you to build life skills, those kinds of things. When we're born, Saturn represents the karma that we are to learn, the what we want to achieve through this life. And he takes about 29 years to go through the zodiac before he reaches the same point that he was at when you were born. And so within those 30 years, even if you look at yourself as a person, the development that you go through through your first Saturn return, there's a lot of growth there as you think about how you go through in your young years and then your adolescent years and then your young adult years, and then what a huge epiphany most of us go through at around 30. And then you start that cycle again, where then he starts going through all those same signs again. Each sign, each house represents something different. So when he goes through, it takes about 2.5 years for him to get through a sign. And then each sign that he's in is in a different house in your chart. So let's say that, just for example, if Saturn right now is going through your 10th house, that's centered around career. And so what he's going to do is there's even 3 breakdowns within that sign. So when he's there for 2.5 years, it's like he kind of walks in the door of this room and there's shelves everywhere and there's furniture. And the way that he kind of looks at it at first is like, all right, we're assessing this. What needs to be done? Like, you kind of like a parent walking into your kid's bedroom and you're like, you walk in there and you're checking to make sure this room is cleaned, and you kind of walk in and you're kind of surveying that room. Then when he gets to the middle part of that sign, then it's more about starting to do the work. Like, this goes here, this goes there, this. And then when he is going through those last ends, those are just the little details, the kind of the things where you're like, yeah, that can be over there, or yeah, that's okay there, or well, I guess I don't love that there, but it can be there for right now. It's kind of, it's a little bit looser. And so for right now, Saturn is in Sagittarius, and Sagittarius represents, it's when you look at the astrological sign, it's kind of like pointing that arrow and like aiming at something and then shooting it. So it's like your projection out, so like if you have beliefs and stuff like that, that's your philosophy about it. It's creativity. So, it's, how you kind of put things together so that would build like a philosophy. It's long distance travel, because in that idea of how you would build a philosophy is you would travel, it would take a while, for you to get to the point where you have a philosophy about something. So those are all those kinds of things that Sagittarius represents. Sagittarius is mutable, amongst the fire signs, it's the mutable sign. So again, when we were talking about mutability, it's that, kind of wavering. It's not, stubborn. It's not rigid. It's just kind of like, goes with the flow. But it's a fire sign. So it's this kind of go with the flow fire sign, or fire, that it kind of will go this way or it'll go that way, or, any way. It's not going to stay in one spot for a very long time. Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. So when Saturn is sitting in the sign of Sagittarius, there's another aspect of whoever rules that sign, or whoever governs, or whatever that sign. Jupiter rules the sign of Sagittarius, and Jupiter is, divine blessings, expansion. So when Jupiter rules that sign of Sagittarius, of fire and philosophy, he's expanding it, and he's just about it. And so that's where that idea of sometimes Sagittarius can be a little bit not forceful, but they can be kind of stuck in their ways of thinking about things and the way that they want to go. And so, because Jupiter is very benevolent, this is how I feel, that this is just, and this is what I'm going to do about it. So Saturn and Jupiter kind of work together in that aspect. And because Saturn rules, regulations, structure, keeping things organized, Jupiter likes that. So when Saturn is sitting in there and doing his job in his house, he's like, cool, this is going to be helpful. So those two kind of play very well together. Sagittarius is a very extroverted sign. It's optimistic, it's loyal, it's, kind of all of those things. And so Saturn being in Sag, he's kind of right now he's in the middle aspect of it. And so he's really kind of starting to clean up house. So if you think about the world collectively, or even in your life, this is where you would be within this process of what's going on. If there's any astrological planet that you want to follow, it would be firstly the moon, if you want to follow something that takes a little bit more work, because the moon changes so much during the month into the signs. But Saturn, if you know every 2.5 years-ish what life lesson you're working on, it kind of really helps to take things and make sense out of it. You can see I can see why this keeps happening. I'm supposed to be learning this, duh. And so by karma, or this law of attraction, where Saturn will use these obstacles in your path to help you evolve through that house. So we were talking about earlier, 10th house, so career. So if Saturn walked in there and was looking at your career walls in your life, and what are you doing over here? In the beginning he would walk in and he would be like, oh, you're doing amazing, this is awesome, and you're gonna kind of just flow through it, if you've been doing all your things. Or there's that polar opposite where he can walk into your career room and be like, what the heck have you been doing? You set out to do this in life, and wait, whoa. So those are those life-changing moments where you're and then you kind of start frantically working in this one area of your life. So for me, when I turned 30, I did that in my health and fitness. I lost a bunch of weight, and I had all these transits, now that I look back, that were supporting me in that essence of my life so that I could overcome that. So within that idea is that God never gives you anything that you can't handle. So with the way that I look at that is that how he kind of sets up your chart, your astrology chart, or things that happen in your life that are going to create these obstacles that are at your level so that you can learn and evolve. And so kind of knowing that area where Saturn's going to be kind of shaking things up a little bit, and it kind of helps you to understand and to make the choices that you're making in that time in your life. So right now we're going to go through the signs of what Saturn is doing in your house right now. And we're going to start with Aries. And Aries, Saturn is working in your 9th house. So this is a place that Saturn likes to be because this is his home. Saturn rules the 9th house. And so he rules, so there's this, or not Saturn rules the 9th house, but Sagittarius rules the 9th house. So this is philosophy, travel, and truth. And so, over until about the end of 2017, December, There's going to be a lot of things that you're going to start being more serious about, more fixed about concerning your philosophy, you know, where you want to travel to, move to, do all of those things. What are your truths? Aries, you're the sign of the I am. And so what's been going on through your mind, and you might be cleaning these all up, and now you're in the process of like doing something about it, is what is your truth? You know, where are you at in your life with your truth? What do these truths mean to you? And this is going to be really important to you. And so, you know, if you're focusing right now on, you know, what is my philosophy? How do I feel about this philosophy? How do my philosophies compare against other people's philosophies? So, you know, how do, you know, when I talk about something and I stand for something, am I sticking to my truth about it, or am I wavering and you know, following other people in accordance to their truth? So that's just going to be something that is going to be heavy on your mind, and that there's going to be obstacles put in your path where you're going to have to figure out what your truth is about that, and what are you going to do about that, because ninth house also rules you know, journeys of the mind and teaching. And so there might be this thing of wanting to share that with other people, what you think, how you're changed, you know, what your truths are. And you might feel compelled to, you know, by the end of this transit, by the end of 2017, you might feel compelled to want to put that into, you know, what you're doing for a living and teaching that. Because when Saturn leaves the ninth house, he's going to go into your 10th house. So that's going to be your next thing at the end of 2017 is, you know, now he's kind of getting all of your beliefs together and getting you to figure out what that means. And then next, like, what are you going to do with that? How are you going to incorporate that in to your job, or are you going to change jobs? You know, so be kind of thinking about that. If you're kind of forecasting, 10th house is going to come up next, and that's Capricorn. So it's a little bit more, Saturn rules Capricorn. So that will also be a really good transit because he'll like being there. But it's a lot of work. Capricorn is a lot of work. So just kind of figuring that out so that when you get to that 10th house that you're prepared for it. Taurus, this has been a hard couple of years for you because Saturn is transiting your eighth house. And for you, this is a total rebirth, a total transformation, a total like reality check within you and other people. Like, you know, Taurus can tend to be a sign that attaches to other people. We like to help people. I'm a Taurus, so that's why I say we. We like to help people. We, you know, sometimes we really end up discounting our own needs to help other people. And so Saturn has been kind of going through your house, presenting you with obstacles on, you know, you know, totally kind of that phoenix in the fire aspect of totally wiping out, you know, everything that you've been doing and trying to figure out, you know, who are you? And is there something that needs to change? You know, for me personally, I went from running to yoga. They can be kind of polar opposites. And so, you know, then this can be social groups. This can be, you know, lots of different things when it comes to regeneration and, you know, and how you deal with other people, marriages, taxes, you know, so money, inheritances, partners' values. So, you know, you're in this essence of like, okay, you know, who am I and who are you? You know, like, and how do we come together, but yet still, how can I be me and you be you? So there's this kind of like self-reflection but change. You know, you're kind of in this essence of changing. So, you know, you might see a whole bunch of Tauruses out there with new hair colors and new hairstyles and You might have the sudden urge to want to like go shopping and like, what do I look like? But also with Saturn in there, you know, this is also a form of, you know, just engaging in that ability to be practical. And because Saturn is very practical. And so he's kind of like just making sure that you are on track with you. And there might be this essence of like, you know, wiping the slate clean and representing yourself out into the world. By 2017, by the end of it, you're going to be just like this totally different person. Just spiritually, mentally, all the things that's kind of, you might have felt very loopy over the past, you know, year or so, where you've been like, who am I? What am I doing? Is this the right job? Like, what are those pants? I don't like those shoes, you know, just these kinds of things where just like everything around you just seems like it doesn't make sense. And then you're looking at your partner and thinking like, okay, are we, you know, how do our values match up? And, so those is just kind of the things that you're working through right now. You're kind of getting into that position of moving forward with actually making some physical changes within you, that's going to transform who you are as an overall person. Gemini, this is going on in your 7th house. So Saturn's kind of walking in that room and kind of looking at how you look at you, and then you look at other people. And it's not the other people. I'm just going to tell you that right now. Saturn is coming in and he's looking at you. Where are you being judgmental on others? Where are you being overly accepting of others? How do you project onto other people? Like, you know, in whatever mind frame that you're in, how are you projecting that out onto other people? So let's say that you have issues, you know, with, let's say you're a feminist. And so, you know, would be you kind of walking around thinking every other woman should be a feminist, or every other woman should be this, or every other man should do it this way. Because I do this and I think you should do it too. So there's this aspect of, you know, Saturn kind of going in there and saying like, what's in your own backyard? How are you projecting onto other people, you know, your ideals? Because Mercury rules Gemini, so you can be kind of an idealistic sign. You're very intelligent, so it comes with, you know, it's something that's natural about you and that is a good quality. But you can become idealistic in a more of a shadow form. And then what Saturn is kind of looking at right now is how are you, you know, with Saturn being in Sagittarius philosophies, take that for instance, how are you projecting your philosophies on other people? And, you know, how is that benefiting you? How is that, how does that create people's reaction to you? Those kinds of things. And just kind of thinking about and checking, you know, can I do it differently? Can I look at people differently? And maybe not judge them by my own personal beliefs. So that's kind of something that Geminis are working on until the end of next year. Cancer, you are working on chores, health, daily routine. So, you know, over the past couple of years, you might have really been starting to think about making some health changes. You know, Saturn walks into that room and he's like the doctor, you know, coming in there like, okay, what are you doing for fitness? How are you eating? You know, what time do you get up in the morning? What time do you go to bed? How much time are you sleeping? Where are you lollygagging? Where are you wasting time? Where could you be being more productive? Where could you be relaxing? You know, it's just kind of checking in on what you're doing throughout the day and how that impacts your health, and so there may be obstacles or ideas presented to you that, okay, you know, you might get this idea of like, okay, I need to start going for walks every day, or my cholesterol is too high, or, you know, all of these kinds of things, or maybe I should pick up a fitness class, or, you know what, I need to get organized during the day. Even if I'm retired, you know, I should probably have some kind of flow to my day. So just kind of rechecking those things to make sure you're kind of utilizing the most of your day. Leo, you are working on how you play, how you find joy, how you experience romance. So, you know, Saturn walks in there and, you know, how much, like if you're married, you know, are you going on dates? You know, maybe you might feel if your relationship isn't in a great place, maybe you decide to get involved in some counseling, either for yourself or for a couple, or maybe you meet the biggest love of your life over this 2.5 year cycle, and this is the time that you're really starting to get to know each other. Leo, you are a playful sign and you have a huge heart. So within that, you know, what are you doing? Are you making time to make sure that you have fun? And, you know, how do you experience fun? What are you going to do about that? Are you doing it? So, you know, in the next couple years, in the next year, you're really going to be focusing down on implementing, adding more fun into your life and making sure that it comes from a true and original place, that you're really enjoying what you're doing, whether it be in your job or how you do fitness or how you hang out with friends or who you hang out with. Are you feeling joyful with these people? Do they bring out good parts of you? You know, do you have a healthy dose of it? So those are kind of the things that Leo is kind of working with. And so maybe you could be focusing down on, you know, incorporating more fun or being grateful for the joy that's in your life, and really appreciating that. Virgo, you are working on the 4th house, and that's your ideas and stuff like that about home and family and, you know, where you came from as a child. You know, how are you incorporating that into what you're doing now? How is it benefiting you or not? So, you know, Saturn's going to try and build the structure of your home. So he's going to try and strengthen it so there may be different obstacles that are being placed within your path so that you are building a more secure home life. You know, are you sticking true to the values and morals that you want? Does your house, you know, are you spending enough time with family? What would you want to do with your family? How is your childhood, you know, maybe trying to clear out some of those, either embrace or clear out some of those childhood ideas or philosophies, either implementing them into your home or getting rid of anything that you don't believe to be true anymore and being okay with that. Libra, Saturn is going through your 3rd house. And so this is, you know, short distance travel, technology, communications with siblings and cousins, close personal friends. Saturn is kind of going in there and like, so you may have gone through some friends recently to where you've just been like, we are not meshing anymore. Like, new friends, please. Or, you know, siblings, like, you know, there might be obstacles within your siblings that you have to kind of overcome, and which is just going to make you guys closer together. In technology, you know, so how are you utilizing technology? Or do you spend your entire time on the phone? Or maybe you pick up, you know, some kind of interest in like technology where you are, you know, trying to figure it out or taking up a hobby or, you know, something like that. Or maybe you're communicating with siblings a lot differently on, you know, through social media and emails and phone. And, you know, are you calling your family or, you know, those kinds of things. Saturn's kind of going in there and just kind of looking at things of like, you know, what are you doing with your friends? And like, how are your connections? Are these real? Are these not? How stable are these friendships? You know, how stable are your relationships with your siblings? And how stable, like this might be a good time for you to get a new computer or to back it up or, you know, do stuff with those technological devices, maybe upgrade something or maybe you got a new car or, you know, something like that. or freeing up like a car payment or a computer payment, or, you know, something like that, where Saturn's kind of going in there and saying like, you know, how are you communicating is really kind of where it comes down to. Scorpio, Saturn is going through your second house, and this is never fun. Because when he goes through your second house, he's looking at your budget, and he's looking at how you're using your money and how you're allocating your money, and, you know, maybe some kind of shift around your values. What do you value? Saturn's going in there and kind of looking at like what you're doing within your values, and do they align with who you are? He's going to trigger these ideas of, you know, well, I don't, you know, I want to spend more time at home with my kids, so I don't value working a job that creates me to be gone for 70 hours a week. You know, those kinds of things. So I'm going to find a new job, but then you have to think about the finances. Okay, well, you know, now I'm going to make a shift, so I need to figure out like where's my money, you know, where's my money going? Saturn's in there like, what are you doing with your money? And, you know, how are you allocating that? And how is this, you know, how is your living standards up to your values? Are you over exceeding or under exceeding, or, you know, those kinds of things? And so if you utilize this time for the second house to really clean up the financial, you know, work with Saturn and get those finances cleared away and get the budget handled. And, you know, if you're doing all these things by the end, you know, that's the great thing, is when Saturn leaves the sign, it's like, you did, you know, check, then he kind of like hits that last degree, and he's like, all right, like check in, you know, and then there's kind of this Jupiter blessing that kind of comes in and helps out. So that's always awesome. Sagittarius, Saturn is in your first house, and this is a total audit of you, who you are, how you project yourself out into the world, how people see you. You know, Saturn may be going in through your houses and, you know, going through that house and saying like, you know, you're changing different behaviors within how you act and project out into the world, and people are maybe going to start seeing you differently, or the way that people see you is going to draw your attention to habits or whatever that you do within yourself that might create a change. Capricorn, this is in your 12th house, and Saturn is really going in there and trying to clean up your unconscious thoughts. Things that are self-defeating, things that you do to undo your own self. This is kind of a total, you know, the 12th house is the hardest house, because it's the little things that you do that lead to, you know, your undoing, excessive worry, you know, those kinds of things, how you create and manifest some of your own issues. And so Saturn will be in there kind of raising up some fear in certain areas, so that you can think about doing things differently, instead of trying to like hold on to old beliefs, old ways, old. He's challenging you to kind of maybe pick up some new philosophies and, you know, go through these obstacles and learn, and then figure out, you know, so that the next time one comes around, that, you know, these emotional unconscious triggers, that you'll react differently to it. Aquarius, this has been all about your social groups and your friends. So Saturn is in there and doing that big thing of like, you know, who are you connecting with? You know, these are like nonprofits, small groups, hobby groups, fitness groups, work groups, your friends, you know, people that you like in groups of friends. So you've really been thinking about, or, you know, either really getting invested and knowing what you have within those social groups, or you might be created with obstacles, you know, to show you where you need to maybe shift and flow to a different direction. So within that, you know, really kind of focus on right now making the changes of getting involved in these groups. You know, you've already been kind of being presented with opportunities to learn about different groups and to go through all the kind of the nitty-gritty of it. Now you're kind of starting to get into that point where maybe you should get a little bit more involved. You know, put your money where your mouth is, put your beliefs, you know, your thoughts about it, and really get involved and become an active part in that and share what you have with them. Pisces, this is in the essence of your career, and Saturn has been kind of walking in and asking you, you know, are you doing what you really want to do? Are you going to work on time? Are you representing your business, yourself, you know, all of those things that have to do with career, presenting obstacles in the path of your career so that you can become stronger within the workforce. So just kind of watch now, you know, you've been maybe over the past year or so seeing different things within patterns of work, and now is the opportunity to kind of put those changes that you've been collecting and put them into motion. You know, and then in 2007, you know, towards the end of 2017 is when you'll kind of really be like, you know, just dotting the I's and crossing the T's within the career, you know, and then by the end of 2017, you should have a pretty good idea of where you're going within career. And then the 11th house after that will be, you know, connecting with work people and, you know, who are you socializing and stuff like that. So just know that these obstacles are being brought into your path so that you can evolve within your career, not necessarily to take you down, but just to think about them as obstacles to make you stronger within what you do. Because Pisces, we all know that you can be heavy and emotional sometimes, and this stuff hits you hard within your workplace because you just want everybody to get along. But within that, you have to really look at the obstacles that are being presented so that you can now put into action the things that you need to change and work on. So that is it. And I hope you enjoyed the Saturn video. Saturn will continue to kind of work with Saturn, and I'll release more videos as we go, but I just kind of wanted to touch on who he is and what his presence is in our life, and how we can work with him instead of being afraid of it when, you know, he kind of comes into different areas of our life and cleans up, and that can be a little prickly feeling sometimes. And so if you kind of know where he's at in your life, you can kind of understand where these obstacles or restrictions are coming in. So, and then you can kind of work for it, plan for it, you know, do all of those things. So it just kind of helps to add a little bit of understanding. So have a great day. Bye.